All right, we're gonna talk about COVID. Let's talk about COVID. So this was the day we were shut down from COVID. So let's flash back to March 2020. It happened fast. It was like the world started hearing about this thing called COVID 2020. It was in other countries. A few cases popped up in the United States. We had a staff, an emergency staff meeting on a Friday. And we were kind of like, all right, we're hearing rumblings of this thing that's coming. It's people are getting sick. Businesses may be getting shut down. We're gonna have a plan. And this is, one of the things that has helped us grow is the meetings that we've had together and the structure that Jeff has been able to bring to our meetings. And this was no different. We made a plan. So we had a plan for if we had to close our doors. We had a plan if we had to go outside. We had to have a plan if we had to wear masks. And it was a week later, the next Friday, I think they announced that we would have to close our doors and, really close our doors. Now, we took things outside for the first couple weeks, but really it wasn't long before we were completely shut down from in-person training. This was part of our plan was to have the photo got a little cut off, but it was our COVID response team. And it was an entire schedule of everything that we were gonna do to provide the same service to our clients. And it was cooking classes, it was home workouts, it was mobility routines, it was all kinds of stuff. And really what that was my commitment to not fire any of my staff members. And I basically told them, I was like, listen guys, your pay will not change. I'm committed for doing this as long as physically possible. And that was the commitment that we made. But in exchange, they all had to kind of do something. So there were, our coach Chris did a cooking class, we did mobility, we did our Zoom workouts, obviously. And that was a time that we just had to get creative. And luckily, I think being creative is one of my strong suits. So we had all kinds of ideas that we were able to implement. We rented out all the equipment from the gym, all the kettlebells, all the dumbbells, the barbells and plates. And we were able to provide somewhat of a similar service while people were at home. And really, the thing that really kept us going was our community. There is no reason that everybody needed to stay, with their membership as active as it was. And we never would have made it if we didn't have that level of commitment from our members that had our backs through the whole experience, which a lot of businesses didn't. And I think this was about 8 years in business for us, and everything that we did up until that point is the only reason we were able to survive it. Because if we didn't have the same level of community and family oriented feel that we did at the gym, we probably never would have survived. If anything, our staff never would have survived the way that it has. And so COVID, it started with a hard shutdown where we had to figure out what we were gonna do. Luckily, after that meeting, we filmed a ton of in-home workouts, right? This was before the shutdown even happened, because we were so prepared that when the shutdown did happen, we had this whole suite of training programs filmed and ready to go. And a lot of that was from Jeff having the forethought to come up with it, and having staff members willing to just shift gears at the drop of a hat and and commit to this whole new thing that nobody's ever done before. So, in the very beginning, we were in here filming just random workouts, filling backpacks with weights and doing backpack workouts and in-home body weight training. And we had about 20 workouts that we filmed that we put onto YouTube and we released to our membership. And we're like, all right, this is gonna get us started. We started doing workouts at a local park. And that was one way that we were able to, maintain social distance and work out outside. And this was really early on, and we started hearing grumblings that, we weren't supposed to do that. So we ended up shutting that down. And just that first 2-week flatten the curve ended up being 3 months or whatever it was. I think it was about 10 weeks that we were completely shut down from in-person training. And really, we took that very, very seriously. I did not see any staff members for that entire time, even to the point where, I walked into the gym to get something one day, and I happened to, Jeff was in here at the same time, and it was weird. It was weird to see somebody in person at that time. Just a really wacky time in the history of the world, but the history of our business, which is so people oriented that you never go an hour without seeing anybody, let alone 10 weeks. Being home, we were actually able to get a lot done with our Zoom workouts, but even we reimagined the way we were doing a lot of our training. And you started to see that when we were able to open our doors again. So that was in March. I think in June, we were able to go outside. So we started doing park workouts in the parking lot, where we just had to get creative. We just had to, have a great playlist to keep everybody energized, because there's only so many body weight workout routines that you can do before you get bored. Spraying everything down, doing outdoor workouts, outdoor boot camps. That was the first phase, was the outdoor workout phase. And it was, we made it work. Whether we did it at the park some days, whether we did it in the gym, I found a way to keep my staff engaged, still working and providing a service for our clients. And, surprisingly, we were able to still get great results for our clients. We had a lot of clients that got better results that time than they did when they were in the gym. I think just that change of routine maybe was helpful for them. So the next phase was coming back inside with masks on. This was probably the hardest transition of all of them, because it was hot. It was July, August at the time. The mask training thing was really difficult, right? Nobody liked working out in masks, and the social distancing. So it changed everything that we did in our business. There were no more circuits. There was no more traveling from one area of the gym to the next. There was no more using a piece of equipment that somebody else had used. There was no more social interaction, no more high fives, no more fist bumps, right? It changed every single aspect of our business. And not to mention, we were losing people every single day because people didn't want to wear masks. People didn't want to a lot of people weren't ready to be in the gym. So we were still losing people every day, and nobody was joining a gym during that time because nobody wanted to go into an environment like that. So we made it work again because of the phenomenal commitment and creativity that our staff had. I'll never ever forget that first day when Nick was running our first large group class. When we were able to open our doors again, we had the whole gym sectioned off with blue painter's tape, and just everybody had their own training space. The workouts were designed so that everyone would have their own kettlebell or dumbbell or whatever they needed for their workout in their zone. No moving around. You wouldn't have to move from one station to another. And then for small group, it actually was like a blessing in disguise, because the way we changed our small group program was everybody basically had their own training pod, where if you were using squat racks or heavier lifts, You would have a squat rack, a bench, and we would get you whatever dumbbells or kettlebells you needed. No need to like go about and do whatever else you needed to do. It was all there for you. So it allowed us to provide even more of like a concierge fitness service where we were taking care of everything. So that was the next phase, which was indoors with masks. And that lasted, I guess that lasted a couple months. And slowly as time went on, people started to coming back, and they were, realizing, listen, I'm either at home doing nothing, or I'm going to the gym and wearing a mask. So thankfully, we started to see some clients coming back, new clients trickling in, and really, I think one of the things that's made it really helpful for us was how small we are, and the small group personal training that we offer in separate rooms. Because a lot of people were not ready to go back to LA Fitness and Planet Fitness because, one, you can't even get people to put their plates back at LA Fitness. Nobody's cleaning their stuff down. Nobody's following other rules that they were supposed to be following. So even if you were a little nervous about COVID, you were not going back to those gyms. So that really helped us stand out. And the fact that we were a really small gym, that we were following the rules that we're supposed to be following, and the fact that we had small group training where there was never more than 6 people in an entire room was really, really helpful for us to stand out during that time. So that was kind of those initial phases, and then we had a short period of time where we were able to go mask optional. And that's when people really started coming back. Energy was great in the gym, and things really started to pick up. But unfortunately, that was short-lived. Then we had to go to, it was like December, they announced that there was another shutdown. So gyms were not allowed to operate indoors. And so at this time, my staff was still wearing masks, because I think we made that a rule that the staff, no matter what, even if it was optional, you had to wear a mask. We had to go outside in December, from like December 15th till January 1st. And wouldn't you know that it was the first December that we ever get a snowstorm? We had a massive snowstorm the week we had to go outside. So I'll never forget this. They announced that we were shut down again and we had to go outside. We had a bunch of members bring tents because we were gonna set up shop outside, right outside the back doors. And Nick, Jeff, and one of our members, Rob Ray, maybe some more, I'm blanking, but Rob Ray came out and helped us build all these tents, this tent city that we built on the back door. And I got a photo in here from that. But that tent city lasted about a couple hours because the wind picked up and all the tents blew over. And the big tent that we had completely got destroyed. The bars bent and it just was complete trash. But we had to go back outside for 3 weeks in the middle of the winter. And this was probably the bigger challenge that we faced all of COVID, because we were outside in the middle of winter, the dead coldest part of the winter, doing weightlifting. And it was really, really difficult, but that all challenges, you acquire the strength of the challenges that you overcome. A lot of people acquired a lot of strength during that time, because if you were going to show up in 5 a.m. in January to work out outside, you got a lot of strength from that. That was a really, really big, thing for a lot of people. And I was amazed at the commitment and the, just what people brought to those workouts. It was amazing. And it was also at that time that we hired a staff member. Amazingly, we hired Jen Smith, who is a phenomenal instructor of ours. She came to one of our outdoor workouts and was like, I want to be a part of this. And so we hired Jen, and she has just completely been an amazing part of our staff and community and person in the Gage strength training world. So Jen, kudos to you coming out to one of these freezing cold outdoor workouts and then wanted to actually be a part of that. We love you, Jen. Thank you for all your support. And again, there were days here where I was here, Jeff would come out. Jeff would always be here helping out with that stuff, shoveling the snow for the workouts, searching every single shop in town for the one bag of salt that you could find, because so many businesses were outside, there was no salt to be found. So we were like finding salt, trying to like make this area workable for our members. So that part of the COVID experience was probably the toughest, because it was so cold, because we got like a foot of snow in December, which is unheard of for this area. But the COVID saga started to fizzle out after that, and we were able to start coming back inside. Things started coming back to life. Slowly the numbers started coming down, and people have been able to come back alive from that COVID experience. And really, overall, I'm grateful for the entire opportunity. It brought our membership closer together. It brought my staff closer together. It forced us into a new level of creativity and strategy and business, where a lot of businesses didn't make it out of that, and we did, and I'm really proud of everything that everybody did to make that happen. So COVID is bittersweet. It was a really tough time, but it really forced us into another level of business that's brought us here today. Hey guys, thank you for joining me while I share 10 years of memories from Gage Strength Training. Listen, this month is our 10-year anniversary at Gage Strength Training. So for the next 20 people that contact me, we are giving away a month's membership for only $10. So for the first 20 people, you can get an entire month of training for only $10 if you contact me at devin@gagestrengthtraining.com. We will give you an entire month of training for $10 for the entire month.